In this video, I'm giving you the top 5 Warhammer 40K armies for new players to start with, and also which overwhelmingly popular army I think you should avoid. Ooh, spicy. Hey everyone, David the War Boss from Dadhammer here, back for another video, and today I'm tackling one of the bigger questions new players frequently have when they're thinking about starting Warhammer 40,000, and that is, which army should they start with? It's honestly a great question, but one that is incredibly subjective as it depends on several factors in order for the new player to make an informed decision. So before we get into the recommended armies themselves, let's talk through those factors that may sway your decision one way or the other, regardless of what's on this list. By the way, do me a favor and hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you don't miss any future content from Dadhammer. With that said, let's get started. The first factor is the rule of cool. You may have heard this one before, but this one trumps all others because honestly, if you just love the look and background story of a certain army, that's the one you need to start with. Yes, there are implications on picking one army over another, but if you're really into the look of the miniatures, go with that and deal with the rest later. Second factor is gameplay style. Whether it's melee or range, swarms of weaker models, or fewer but stronger elite models, vehicles, or infantry. In general, most 40k armies have something for everyone, no matter your preference. However, some are better than others at melee or range, for example, but in my opinion, a good general can figure out adjustments on the fly, no matter their opponent. Third is model diversity. I tend to play armies with a wide variety of models, so I always have something different to choose from when looking to expand my collection. If you frequent the stores wanting to expand, you'll want to make sure that you're starting with an army that has a good runway for you to continue growing your force. However, the rule of cool still trumps this, as the Leagues of Votann, for example, are my favorite army, and they have a fairly limited model diversity in their catalog. Fourth is budget. Now, let's get this out of the way. This is an expensive hobby as far as games are concerned. If money is tight, you can still buy a combat patrol box for around $150 and have a blast playing 40k. However, if you want to get to a full 2,000 point army, you need to plan on an average cost of around $500 up to $1,000 or more, or much more, depending on the army. The fifth factor is rules complexity. All Warhammer armies have their own nuance and complexities with their rule sets. Some rely heavily on synergies with other units and stacking abilities with stratagems to be effective, while others can fly solo due to their durability and require fewer units to support them. Both playstyles and rules are enjoyable in their own right, they're just different flavors of the game. These factors are important to keep in mind when watching this video, or any other video for that matter, on best armies to start out with Warhammer 40,000. This army list is in no particular order, but I'll definitely highlight my personal recommendation. With that said, let's get started with the first one. First army on the list are the Necrons. Rising from an ancient slumber, the Necrons are an ancient race of skeletal, Terminator, death robots. That's the best way I can describe them. Necron units are known for their resilience and ability to reanimate, making them forgiving for beginners. They have straightforward rules, making it easier for new players to grasp the mechanics. The Necron lore is intriguing, at least to me, adding depth to the gaming experience. They are also simple to paint. You throw some lead belcher, Nuln Oil, add some green and black for glowing effects, and you're ready to go. Necrons have limited psychic abilities, however, which might be a downside for players interested in that aspect of the game. What they lack in psychic abilities, though, they make up for with great ranged shooting abilities. Next on the list are the Tau Empire. Hailing from the far reaches of the galaxy, the Tau Empire is defined by advanced technology and a commitment to the greater good. The Tau excel at long-range shooting, allowing beginners to engage enemies from a safe distance. They are vulnerable in close combat, however, so players need to focus on staying far away in general, although there are of course some Tau units that can offset this. The tactics for Tau are simple to grasp, with the playstyle revolving around shooting, making it easier for beginners to strategize. Tau also have a variety of units, offering flexibility in army composition. Third on the list are the Adeptus Custodes. They are revered as the Emperor's chosen guardians. They epitomize the pinnacle of human martial prowess in the Warhammer 40k universe. Custodes are an elite army, meaning fewer units to field and paint. Painting them is also straightforward as they are 80% golden armor. They have high toughness and strong armor, making them resilient on the battlefield. Each model is typically individually powerful, meaning beginners can learn the mechanics without feeling overwhelmed. They are primarily a close combat army, however, so players looking for ranged attacks should look elsewhere. Fourth on the list are the Tyranids. Hordes of ravenous alien creatures, the Tyranids are a relentless force of nature, consuming everything in their path. With swarming tactics and monstrous creatures, they seek to devour entire worlds in their insatiable hunger. Tyranids overwhelm opponents with numbers, making them forgiving for beginners. However, managing a large number of units might be challenging for some. Painting Tyranids is simple, with only a few colors required to deliver a really great-looking model. Tyranids give off an alien's creature vibe that just feels terrifying in close quarters, which is great because they excel in melee combat, providing a different playstyle experience. Last on the list, and my personal favorite, are the Orks. Brimming with enthusiasm for violence and mayhem, the Orks are a green-skinned race that revels in chaotic warfare. From hulking war bosses to mobs of enthusiastic boys, the Orks bring an unpredictable and rowdy element to the grim darkness of the Warhammer universe. Orks have a playful and entertaining playstyle centered around close combat and a green tide, while also allowing for chaotic charges with crazy Mad Max-style vehicles. Orks are forgiving due to their ability to absorb losses with large numbers. Painting an Ork army is really forgiving, with the aesthetic being centered around rusty, thrown-together weaponry, which is easy to kit bash and customize. The only downside, which to me is a plus, is that Ork abilities often involve a degree of randomness, which might not appeal to the players seeking a more predictable playstyle. Random explosions that accidentally hurt you? Sounds like an orky good time to me. So those are my top 5 armies for new players to start with. What? No Space Marines? Have you lost your mind? Oh yeah, long time ago. Look, Space Marines are a very popular army. A lot of people love them. I have my own Space Marine army that I field every now and then, and they do seem to check most of the boxes that make for a good starter army for some people. However, ironically, I think some of those reasons reduce their playability. Now, this is just my opinion, so back to the rule of cool. If you think they look awesome, ignore everything I'm about to say. Space Marines have a huge range of models to choose from. That can definitely be seen as a positive, but that amount of choice sometimes leads to decision overload, which is tough as a new player. Also, due to so many units available, there are a lot of synergies to consider, which can increase the complexity and amount of money you spend getting started. They also have a lot of different gameplay styles. Yes, you can play multiple playstyles, but that usually leaves me feeling like I'm not great at any one thing in particular and just mediocre at all of them. That will depend on you as a player, of course, but when you're just learning the rules, that middle-of-the-road style doesn't always give you the big punch of power you want to feel. Lastly, Space Marines are also the safe army to play, which when I started didn't make me feel like I was bringing something new and fresh to the game, which is more exciting in my opinion. So there you have it, a little spice to go along with my top 5 list. Do you agree with this list, or has my exclusion of Space Marines invoked the Emperor's wrath upon me? Leave a comment below to let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I'm David the War Boss, and we'll see you next time.